Hi guys, it's Crystal City Your Homestead, and it's Fun Friday, and we're going to do something different. We're not going to cook anything today. I've been trying to do preservation things, like canning, freezing, whatever, and I thought, you know what, maybe I should do a little research and find out all the different ways that we can preserve our food. So I'm going to give you a second, grab a piece of paper and pencil, because we're going to take notes. I already did. You have to now. Okay. So I was thinking there must be tons of ways to preserve food. And we only think of things like, freezing, canning. There's a whole lot more out there. And a few of them I would like to try. And when I do, I'll bring you along with me. So the number one thing is one of my favorites that I love to do is canning. There's two types of canning. You can water bath or you can pressure can. Now, your water bath canning is good for high acid foods like fruits, jams, jellies, salsa, tomatoes, things like that. Pressure canning, I know there's a few channels out there that says you can water bath some of these things. Even with being a Rebel canner, I won't do it. Pressure canning, what it does involves in heating your food filled jars to a high pressure. And it's good for low acid foods like vegetables, meats, and poultry. You can also do fish. So, you pick what's best for your family, but I pressure can those things. The next thing is pickling. You can pickle just about anything. When I did the carrots, actually was going to pickle some, but I ran out of carrots. I wanted to do some of the sweet carrots, which I did, and the regular carrots to get me through a year with what I already have downstairs and give some to Courtney's mom. But I was going to try pickling, and I didn't have enough. So, but I'm going to give you a basic brine, and you can double, triple, quadruple, whatever you want to do. It's 1 cup of water, 1 1/3 cup of white vinegar, a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, and 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. Let me grab something, because I have something in my refrigerator actually that was pickled. Alright, so I don't know how you say it, giardiniera, whatever it is. It's pickled vegetables. I put it in the refrigerator because I just wanted to get cold. And I was going to use it as a side dish one day, and I forgot. So I did can it. So let's open up that jar. I have a few more downstairs. And this stuff is really good. So let's grab... Well, we were talking about carrots. In this one I have beets. So good. That was a radish. In this one I have like cauliflower, cucumbers, carrots. Oh, I have some olives in there too. The pickling, actually, it's great for your gut health. So, if you get an extra bunch of pickles or, any kind of your vegetables, you can boil that pickling, that basic pickling, put it over top. If you don't know how to can, just keep it in your refrigerator. It won't last as long as the canned ones, but you'll still have pickling in there. The next thing is freezing. That's another one of my favorites. And I keep running out of room on my freezer. But there is, before you freeze, like the meat, you don't have to do it, but some of your vegetables, you do have to blanch them, which usually means, a couple minutes, you dip them into the boiling hot water, and then immediately put them into ice. Because if you don't automatically put it into ice, it will keep cooking it. And then while you've got, yeah, not so good. You can pat them dry, and you can spread them out on a pan so that they come out singular. With my onions and stuff, I don't have to blanch those, but anything that I do, I kind of spread out a little bit. I don't pre-freeze it like some people do. And then once it's dry, pour it into a bag and I get it put into my freezer. Foods that do not freeze well. Dairy products. I have froze sour cream and cream cheese. It's okay, but it kind of separates. And I don't think it's as full flavored as it was before I froze it. Eggs in their shell, because the liquid inside the egg expands. Now, if you open up your eggs, there's so many ways that you can prepare them. You can pre-cook them, or like I have taken my eggs when I had a whole bunch of them and put them in an ice cube tray, and you can just pop them out when you need them. You can blend them up like you would for, you know, regular. You can do whatever you want to preserve them, but just make sure they're out of the shell. Fruits and vegetables with high water content, like melons, citrus, lettuce, cucumbers, radishes, they do become mushy because they're high water content. Fully cooked pasta and rice can become mushy too, but I have frozen and I continue to do that with my rice, and I have never ever had issues with it. I've never tried to just like freeze leftover pasta. Maybe sometime when I have some that's not mixed in anything, maybe I'll try freezing that, see what I think. But when it's mixed in with something like spaghetti or goulash, whatever you're doing, soups, stews, it doesn't do that. But it's just, they say when you do it. Mayonnaise and salad dressings. I wouldn't freeze either one of them. I just wouldn't do it. Drying or dehydrating. Now, I do have an Excalibur. I love it. This stove happens to have a dehydrate button. My new one will not. I chose not to get that because I have a great dehydrator. You can make any stove dehydrate. You just take it to the lowest temperature and you keep the door cracked a little bit and it will dehydrate. So the way to dehydrate, you have food dehydrators. Using the oven, you can air dry. And a lot of people do that with their peppers and their different kinds of herbs. But both of them, actually, I put into my dehydrator. I live in the city, and so I don't really have a lot of places that I could hang things without critters getting to it. And sun drying. This method is only recommended in areas with hot, above 85-degree, dry, and sunny weather. So you guys out west, down south, you might have a good chance at that. Fermenting. I've never really fermented except for, you know, like your sourdough recipes. That is a form of fermenting. You can also ferment your cabbage. There's a whole lot of things, like those people that drink kombucha or whatever it's called, that's fermented too. Very, very, very good for your gut. Curing. There's two different types of curing. There's wet curing, which means that you submerge your food into a mixture of salt and sugar where it's left to cure. And then you pull it out and let it dry. Dry curing is the same thing, except for you rub the food with the dry mixture and it can be left in a cool, dry place to dry. Then there's smoking. My parents, when I got this house, they did have their old Coleman smoker, but it had gotten rusty, and so I had to throw it out. That is on my list of things I would like to get, is a smoker, because like my ex-boyfriend's brother right now is doing salmon and I haven't asked him for any. He did give me some last year. Smoked fish is awesome. There's so many different kinds of meat that you can smoke. You can do some of that stuff in your dehydrator with just different flavors, but the smoking, there's nothing like it for real smoked fish. It's just, yeah, it's awesome. Cheese making. I've never done that either, but I've heard it's easy, and maybe that'll be something I try down the road. Infusing is another form of preservation, and basically it's taking like your different oils, like your olive oil or whatever, and you infuse it with different flavors like rosemary, thyme, whatever it is. That's more of a enhancement flavorful thing for you to do. Then I was looking at a video, and I like some of the ideas he had too. He talks about the salting, which would be curing, fermentation, canning, smoking, but there's sugar preservation where you can actually preserve things with sugar. I'm not quite sure how to do all of that, but you can do it. Alcohol preservation. Alcohol will kill anything that's in there, so it's a how do I want to say it? It's a pretty safe way to keep your food. I'm not sure how well it'll taste afterwards, but you can do it. And then oil preservation. I'm not too keen on that, I guess, because I'm not really an oily kind of person that likes that. And root cellaring. My grandma, when I was a kid, she had a Michigan basement, but like the one part of it was, it didn't have the dirt floor. How's that? It didn't have the dirt floor. Then you went through this doorway and it was like 15 degrees cooler and everything was dirt, including the floor. And she would keep her potatoes and radishes and just, what else does she keep down there? Mostly potatoes. Oh, she'd keep her onions down there. But, I mean, as soon as you open that door, you could feel the temperature change in it. It was just absolutely crazy. But if you keep those things together and make sure that you don't put them in there wet, because they will spoil even though it's cold in there. But I wished I had a root cellar, but here, my basement, even though there's heat that goes down there, it still stays very cool. So it's probably 65, 70 degrees down there. In the summertime, a little bit cooler. But, so my food down there, it's perfect for the foods that I've canned and the foods that I buy at the store. So some of those I want to be able to do, and eventually I will. Right now, I'm more of the, dehydrate. Oh, there's a freeze dryer too. I do not have one of those. I wished I did. But there's freeze dryers as well. And once you freeze dry, that food can last 25 years or more, depending on what you freeze dry. You can go on Amazon and whatever and buy certain things that are freeze dried. I do have some of those, like peanut butter. I have eggs, cheese powder. I don't know, a few different things that I keep downstairs, and that is basically not for me to go through. It's just, I think I have 5 to 10 jars of stuff, big 10-pound cans. And it's not stuff that I use. It's stuff that if it got really, really bad, that I have it and we can dip into it then. Because that stuff will last me 25 years, so it's not like, I better turn that over right now. You know what I mean? So I would like to try some of the more things to do. But right now, I'm sticking to canning, freezing, dehydrating. But as time goes by and money is allotted, maybe I can do some of those other things. And I just thought with it being preserving, that I've been doing this, and I have a few things I'm going to do next week. I'm pretty excited about. I found a sale on something at Kroger this week, and so I want to preserve that, and I have a couple meals in a jar that I want to do. And then I had a special request, and I want to try to get that in next week too. I'm not sure if I can, but I'll try. But I think, I know Lisa, she's been talking about, having everything done up by election because it's supposedly supposed to get really bad. And I live in the city. My one son's like, you need to get out of the city. But, it is what it is. I can't afford to move out of here. So we have to stay here. I don't think the election is going to be the only thing that determines whether the world goes to crap or not. But I think that we need to be ready for everything. It's not just, oh my gosh, the world's going to end tomorrow, because maybe you'd end too. You know what I mean? But it's things like job loss, loss of hours. Like Tom, you know, I mean, it dropped our paycheck. Yeah, he was used to 20 hours a week of overtime, and take that out of a paycheck, and yeah, ugh, it's still like that, and it really sucks. It sucks. So you never know. Loss in hours, loss of job. You know, it could be, you know, you get snowed in. I mean, I live in Michigan. Big potential for that to happen. Ice storms. A few years ago when my mom was still alive, she was living with my sister, but I was living here. We lost everything. I mean, there was ice on everything. There was no power for 4 days. We actually went down and got a generator from a customer of mine. My gas worked, so I'll never go to an electric stove, ever, ever, ever. My electric start didn't work, but I could turn it on and use it later and light it up. We could take a hot shower, so you know, we had my kids here, plus we had my exchange student, me and Tom. We had a house full, and it was like you would take a shower, hurry up and dry off, and jump into bed. We did a thing with clay pots, and our cat that we had at the time, she would just like twist right around it, you know, so she could stay warm. It got down to like 45 degrees in here. It was really, really cold. But yeah. And that was for like 4 days. And then you look at what's going on, you know, in North Carolina and Florida and all these places. It could be months before they're back up and running. So it's not just the end of the world that you should think about preserving your food and making sure that you have enough for, you know, if you only have, like, there's a lot of the younger kids that will shop for a couple days at a time. You know, start out, you don't have to go break the bank, go take out a loan, not pay your bills. You can start out with 3 days of food, you know, and work that up to 5 and to 7, and then get to 2 weeks. I think everybody should have at least a month's worth of food. I have a lot more than that, and when the basement's done, you guys will see. I'm bidding on some more shelves because I'm really filling things up. Tom built some, but you know, you always run out of space. My entire basement is filled. And everybody's like, Tom, stop being so slow. But like this week, you know, we've got voting on Saturday, and then Friday we've got the stove being delivered, and well, it's going to be delivered today. I don't know when. But you know, so there's so many different things, and when he gets at home, there's not any time. So, and then Saturday, we have to go over and both my kids hit a cone, both my daughter-in-law and my son, and there was a little bit of damage to their car, so Tom's going to go help them with that. The other part won't be until next week. Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a crazy week. So, once it's completely done, and I feel like everybody's not going to think we're gross, then, you know, we'll give you a full tour of it. But I wanted to make sure that I have a year's supply of food. And hopefully it's enough for my family too. So, I mean, Nate, there isn't much we can do. He's 10 hours away. Christopher has moved an hour and a half away. So, you know, but there's my son Bobby and my grandkids and my daughter-in-law. So, you know, I want to be able to do what I can do if something happens, and so I can help them too. So, I hope today, I know it was kind of like homework, but I thought, you know, going along with what we've been doing, you know, that it might be a good idea. And there was only one person that asked questions, so I was going to do a question and answer thing. So maybe I'll do that, and if you guys send a bunch of other questions. So the question was, if you won the lottery, would you still preserve your food, and would you still go to discount stores and do all those things? Anybody that knows me, the answer would be yes. Yes, I would. I'm not trying to be gross, but I hate paying top dollar for food that you just out. You know what I mean? And I like sales. I like to find sales. And I like to be able to direct my money somewhere else other than just food. Even though I like food, I love food. You can tell I'm a big girl. And I have a lot of it. I would like to be able to move that money towards something else. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't have had to save up so long for my stove. And I was planning on saving longer, and I don't know why, but I just all of a sudden was looking, and the stove I wanted was half price. So, Tom's like, you better get it. And I'm like, yeah. So, I've saved for a very long time. The next thing I want to save for is a new couch. All of our appliances and furniture and everything are at least 11 years old. Excuse me. And nowadays, anything that lasts past 5 years, you're doing great. I gotta get a drink. My grandsons gave us that thing. Their mom sounds horrible. But anyways, you know, we've had to do a few repairs, but she's been an awesome stove. But, she's gotten every worth. And what's funny is she does have a couple more features, but not much. And I'm paying the same price I paid for my stove 11 years ago. So, yeah. And the new one won't have a back on it. So I'll be able to have Tom build me more shelves. So that'd be great. So I don't believe in just going out. I've been in debt and in trouble before. We don't do that anymore. We save whatever we want. We put it in an envelope. And then we save up for the next thing that we want to do. Well, the couch and chair is, yeah. It's getting pretty worn. And so it's time for that. So that's the next thing we'll be saved for. Yeah. I think that's what we have to do in life. I mean, we all get in trouble sometimes with credit, and we did that, and we don't want to do that again. And we'd like to stay pretty much debt-free other than my car. And so we'll pay cash for stuff, but it might take a while to get it. So anyways, preserving. I hope you had a little bit of fun today. Not your typical fun Friday, but I hope you had fun. Hopefully tonight it will have already been here and you'll be able to see me cook on it. If not, you'll probably see Saturday. Hopefully they have no trouble with installing it. That would be good. I know Renee, when she got her new one, it was a hard time for her to get it. And I'm hoping we don't run into that. So, I'm pretty excited though. I am really excited. And half price, you guys, I was like, whoa. And I was going to wait on it. And then I pulled it up last night or the night before, and it said I had 6 hours left on the sale. So, we're not made of money. I promise. We're not. We save for a long time to get anything that we want. But back with the preserving. Do what you can do for your family. You know, if all it is air drying or freezing or, you know, putting the dehydrating in the oven, whatever it happens to be. Dehydrated food lasts a very long time if you preserve it right. And you get it dry and everything else. You can take your, like, let's say you find a really good sale on frozen vegetables and you want to save them and you don't have room in your freezer. You can dehydrate those and then use them for, you know, soups and stews and stuff like that. They will rehydrate very nicely. So, you know, you go to some discount store and there's a great deal on them, grab them and dehydrate them. You know, you can do the same thing with fruits. You can do the same thing with canned vegetables and fruits as well. Make sure that you drain them really well and dry them before you put them into your dehydrator. So I hope you guys got some good ideas or whatever. Take your notes, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking your time and being with me. I love you guys, and I'll see you tonight at supper.